Welcome to the Red Stories. It inspires me if you subscribe and like, maybe another comment. Thank you. GF demanded a break to cheat guilt-free, so I slept with her coworker and dumped her. Her reaction was priceless. I'm a 54-year-old male married for 30 years. Back when I was a younger man, I had a friend named Troy who was one of my primary wingmen and a good friend. We were both around a decade before The Matrix ever came out. A year or so after college, my friend met a woman named Sabrina. After they had been going out for about 8 or 9 months, she told him one day that she was going to visit home for a week. Home was about 3 hours away. She said they needed to take a break because she needed to get in touch with her feelings as their relationship was getting more serious, and she wanted to know where she wanted to go from there. My buddy said sure, have fun, and that was that. Early in the relationship, before this new revelation, my friend attended some of his girlfriend's work gatherings. At these events there was this hot redhead named Tracy who used to tell his girlfriend things like, "Wow, you sure got lucky. How did you manage to land such a good-looking guy?" She would also say things to my buddy like, "If you ever get tired of her, give me a call." Not very subtle. You can see where this is going. A day after his girlfriend left for home, he called Tracy and they spent the whole week together. Unsurprisingly, when Sabrina got back in town, she called Troy, saying she wanted to meet up and get back together. Troy made up some excuses about being too busy to meet until Thursday. They agreed to meet for dinner then. At dinner, Sabrina said that after some reflection, she was ready to get back together and be serious with Troy. Troy said that was great, then paused and told her that he needed to take a break from the relationship on Friday and Saturday morning. Sabrina looked at him and asked him to repeat what he said. He reiterated that he needed a break from their relationship the next day and Saturday morning. She responded that it sounded like he planned on cheating on her. He argued that it wouldn't be cheating because they would be on a break just for 36 hours. She asked him if he already had a date lined up, and he told her yes. She asked with whom, and he said it was with Tracy. She got furious and almost screamed, "You are cheating on me with Tracy. How could you? You want to take a break to go on a date. Are you planning on spending the night? You can't just take a break and go out with someone else." Troy looked at her and said, "Really? So does that mean you didn't meet up with Brad while you were home?" Brad is her ex-boyfriend who came back that week. He learned from multiple friends that she turned pale and said no. He asked her why people spotted them together. She started stammering, saying it wasn't like that. She was just trying to get closure so she could be ready for him. Now she's ready to be fully committed. He asked about her involvement with her ex and taking a break. She got flustered, insisted that she didn't sleep with him. Troy asked if that meant she didn't do anything with him that he would interpret as cheating. She looked down, turned red, and got quiet. She then said that they were on a break, so it wasn't like she was cheating on him. Troy said that's exactly why he needed a break on Friday and Saturday morning. She said that would be cheating. He couldn't just take a break to go on dates. Troy said, "I see you finally get it. There's no such thing as hitting a pause button on a relationship. You can't just take a break to cheat and then act like it isn't what it is because of some artificial technicality you created to make yourself feel less guilty about justifying your cheating." Troy said, "In fact, I think Tracy is the better option since I don't think she would sleep with her ex while we were together and try to make up some excuse as to why I wasn't cheating." Sabrina said, "I told you I didn't sleep with him," and Troy said it didn't matter. She did something with him, and that was cheating. He would never trust her, especially after she lied about meeting up with him. Troy then told her there's no such thing as taking a break. There are only two states, being together or broken up. There is no hybrid get-out-of-cheating card. He wished her good luck with her ex and left her crying at the table. So awesome. Story 2. I recently got out of a relationship a few months ago, and I've been looking to have some fun while working on myself. I had a few friends with benefits and an opportunity to add yet another girl to the rotation. We had been talking for a few weeks when she texted me one night asking if I could come over. I was interested, but she was really drunk, so I decided it wasn't worth it. About a week later, she texted me again asking if I wanted to hang out the next day, and I told her I probably could make that work. The next day after work, I went to her home, showered up, and headed out. When I arrived, she looked a bit different than I had expected, but I decided to go with it since I had come all this way to have some fun. We hung out for a while, and then she hinted that she wanted to go home and have sex. Since I didn't want her to know where I lived, I suggested we go to the park instead. We drove down a long dirt road by the river, and while driving, I decided to get to know her a bit better. It turned out she was best friends with my ex. I kept it to myself because I was still hoping for a good time. We talked more, and when I asked her what she liked to do for fun, she responded with one word: substances. I knew I should have ended things right there, but I was thinking with the wrong head. We parked the car, and when she got undressed, I realized she was pretty heavy under those clothes. I realized I wasn't interested anymore and couldn't get it up. She could tell I wasn't interested, so we ended up just sitting there talking. Then I saw a car coming down the road toward us really fast. The car stopped right in front of us, blinding us with its headlights. I jumped out and realized it was my brother. He'd had figured out who I was with and came to stop me before it was too late. I found out this girl had been around the block a few times and picked up a few things along the way. I want to end this story with something I learned along the way. If she likes to do substances for fun, you should stay away. Also, bring and use protection and probably learn a bit about someone before having sex with them, especially if you spent a few weeks talking to them like I did. Thanks for reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Story 3. My partner. 25 male is my 26 female rockin' on his. Literally, he tells me it all the time, including yesterday. We've been together for 5 years and have a truly wonderful relationship. Always talking, laughing, comfortable with one another. Able to communicate even when we disagree. After I survived abuse as a child and struggled with unhealthy romantic relationships in the past. The fact that we love each other in a respectful, secure, and profoundly healthy way is truly my biggest blessing, and I wake up every day so happy and grateful for him. He is an incredible man with so much drive, intelligence, kindness, and gifts to give the world. About 1.5 years ago, it came up for the first time that we saw ourselves getting married one day. It was such a beautiful moment, and it rocked my world to have been vulnerable, said those words, and have him say them too. Since then, it's been something incredibly happy that I get to hold in my heart and look forward to. The subject has come up sporadically since then, but I haven't wanted to push it too far since we are young, and it is very much an eventually thing. Both of our parents are divorced and has come from money. He got a lot of strong advice growing up not to marry young, and to protect his assets, to see it from a more financial view than I ever have thought of it. Nevertheless, the thought makes me happy, and we often daydream about the future we'll build together. The little house in New Hampshire we hope to buy and the dogs and chickens we'll have. These are conversations he participates in and brings up on his own all the time. I want to be able to talk casually about the marriage aspect. 2. Go to bed with a sleepy can't wait to marry you or love of my life. But for some reason recently, whenever the subject has come up, he's clammed up and made it feel really serious. This culminated maybe 2 months ago with a really weird conversation in which I sensed he might not have processed what marriage really means to him in the way that I had, and that he wasn't ready to be talking about this in the way that I was, or as much as he had let on. I told him I don't want to put a gun to his head. This is just something that makes me happy to think about and talk about, and I tell him everything. I said I love him for him. I'd wait as long as he needs, but that I firmly didn't want to bring up the subject again until he was comfortable discussing it. I wanted to relieve the pressure on him, and I haven't mentioned it since. Well, yesterday we spent a really lovely day getting lunch and hiking with my family. They live far away, so we don't see them very often. My stepsister and her fiancé were there as well, and of course there was a little bit of light conversation about their upcoming wedding. My BF was his usual friendly, easygoing self. I noticed he seemed quiet on the way home and later that evening, so I asked if he was worried about work, but he just said he was tired from a long day traveling. I made him a drink, kissed him on the forehead like I always do, and promised we could do whatever he wanted to relax that night. Just did what I normally do when I can tell he's stressed, try to show empathy, and take care of him. But then as I'm making dinner, he comes over to me and drops this bomb. He came over to me crying and said spending time with an engaged couple, and even barely talking about their wedding, had sent him into a panic, and he didn't know if he could ever see himself getting married. I was completely blindsided. I tried to parse what he was saying, but it was like my brain was stuck. Evidently, he had been locking himself in his office at work all week crying about this. I kept asking him why he would say he wanted to marry me if he didn't. He said he was lying, basically, that he wanted to give me what he knew I wanted to make me happy. I could only just stare at him open-mouthed. I kept trying to pinpoint if he was saying to me, I don't think I'll be ready to get married for a long time, or I don't think I'll ever be ready to get married, and I really don't think he knows himself. I don't think he has processed marriage at all, and this is the first time it's hitting him. He kept saying stuff about not knowing where his career will lead or if he'll have money. He has a great job, an outstanding network, and is definitely not poor. Neither of us are, and I was just like, we're a partnership. You wanted to be with me yesterday. You want to be with me today. "Do you want to be with me tomorrow?" "Yes," he said. I said, "Well, that's all what matters. We had a life we love, and we'll take on the future together one day." I'm devastated. He left for his stepmother's house, and I don't know when he'll be home. I cannot take another sleeping pill or my heart will stop, but I can't sleep a wink. I literally spiked a 100-degree fever and spent all night sweating and freezing. I had no idea it was possible to be in so much pain it makes you physically sick. This person is the bedrock of my life. We have always had rock-solid confidence that we can trust each other, be vulnerable around each other, and be our full authentic selves without inhibition or fear of judgment. We share everything together, and we are best friends. He even said that over and over as he sobbed and told me he loved me, and that he didn't want to get married. Hours ago, I had the most beautiful and solid relationship in the world. Now I don't know if we're going to break up. I'm reeling. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back by my safe space. The earth fell out from under me, and I don't even know what to think anymore. What do I even do or say to save this? Was I too strong in voicing my desire to get married that I scared him off? Has anyone else gone through something similar? TLDR, my boyfriend of 5 years held in all his fears about marriage and commitment, and they all exploded out at once, and now our amazing and healthy relationship could completely sink out of nowhere. Edit, Oprah replies a very long comment. This is really good advice, and I want to thank you for that. Sifting through comments is giving me some peace and the alternate perspectives I needed. The biggest thing I'm realizing as I read and process is that it was naive of me to think this was going to be a walk in the park. It would have been really beautiful if we could talk and dream about it the way I wanted to, sure, but he obviously has some deep-seated stuff to work through on the subject. You're right, we both got stuff. I was so blindsided last night by my feelings of abandonment and fear that I probably talked over him a ton. The whole conversation was such a wave, honestly, I can barely piece it together. I think I can identify now that, once we both calm down, the most productive thing for us will be to give him the space to work through his feelings and try to understand his fear, and I'll probably have to get real about my need to feel safe in our relationship. At the end of the day, though, I just love him. It's not so much that I need marriage in my life, as it is that I just know he's the one for me, and he's the one I would want to do it with. I just want to say thank you to every person who commented. I was in an absolute state while writing my original post and truly thought 8 people would see it. I read every comment. The kind and empathetic advice I received gave me a little bit of hope and peace as I waited, and that was basically the only reason I was able to eat lunch those first 2 days. I want to thank all of you for that. The long and short of it is he left me. I called him the next day asking when he would come home. He told me he needed a day to think, but he was talking like we were broken up. I'd asked him to at least tell me we're still together. He wouldn't. So yeah, he just torched it in pretty much an instant. I had been leaning a lot on the kind words I received from folks who reassured me that one fight does not need to derail everything we built over the last 5 years. I took the perspective that the question of marriage was something that we need to discuss seriously, and hopefully through therapy to arrive at what both of us want. I had no idea if he would just append the table with no warning, without ever expressing his feelings or giving us the chance to address it, with even a single conversation. So many of the comments I received revolved around the question, is not marrying him a deal breaker for you? Would you be okay with simply a long-term relationship? I don't know. I would have to search my soul for that answer. But I didn't even get the chance. He made that choice for me. 5 beautiful years and he just effing left. Needless to say, there were a million better ways to do this while honoring his fears and feelings, while still showing me an ounce of respect as his partner and someone who loves him. This owed a conversation, and even if we still reached the same conclusion, I would understand. But it's not what I deserve. I did see him one night, and we have been texting. He said all of this awful stuff about how he was just trying to tell me everything I wanted to hear, and how I wouldn't like the person he really is underneath all of his people-pleasing. He's got a lot of this don't talk about it, just run in his family, including in his parents' relationships. My partner has always said he doesn't respect this kind of behavior and talked vehemently about how his values are different. Then he just did the same thing. Although when I wrote my original post, I wanted nothing more than to continue living our happy day-to-day together. But given this entire nightmare, space is the only thing that can do anything for either of us at this point. He has no idea what he's feeling or how to talk about it in a healthy way. My dad had the simplest take and yet said it best, he's immature. He needs to work on himself, and I hope he does. As for me, I'd be an idiot to still want to marry him knowing this is the kind of thing he's capable of. So we got to break our lease. Apartment hunting while still reeling from this 180 flip of my life has been terrible. We moved to this city together, and pretty much every friend I met through him. So I'm really scared it will mean losing a lot of other people I love too. It's going to be expensive and miserable to live on my own, and I'm still grieving my sweet love and the life I thought we were going to have together. I gave 5 years of my life and so much of myself to being one half of that partnership. I never wanted to be on my own again, and now I am. I still love him, but I can't wait around while he fixes himself or pine foolishly hoping one day he'll wake up and be ready for me. I don't want to stand on my own 2 feet, but that's just what I have to do. My question now is, how do I move on? If when we do eventually talk, what can I even say? TLDR, he left and a lot of people were right. I didn't have the relationship I thought I had. Relevant comment: what? He told her he wanted to marry her. He told her he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. What was she supposed to take away from that except that he wanted to be with her? Where are you getting this? How is she burying her head in the sand? He never tried to tell her anything but that he wanted to be with her. He admitted that. That is literally the main issue of this post. He dropped the bomb and fled like a coward. Why does this lying coward deserve empathy? Why enable him? Why encourage him? It sounds like you've never been through anything close to this. Or if you have, it was through his perspective, not hers. Yeah, this, what is about the only thing going through my head right now. I don't want to validate the people who are slinging codependent at me like it's an insult. But honestly, it's a Reddit sleuth's bad take, and just not the truth. I don't worship the ground this guy walks on, and I didn't idealize what we had. My point in stressing that we were happy was, we were effing happy. That's the truth, and you're just going to have to take my word for it. He did not do a 182 months ago, and I didn't kiss his forehead and bow to whatever he wanted. We had a serious and so I thought very honest talk. This is essentially what we said. Me, I'm really excited to get married one day. And I'm excited to marry you one day too. I just don't know if I'm ready right now, and I think it might be a while before I am. Me, well, there's no rush. I don't have a timeline. I don't want to pressure you if you're not ready. Both of us, we know this is something we want someday. In the next morning, I am really excited to marry you one day, by the way. I should do a better job of telling you that. That was my honest belief up until 2 weeks ago, because that was the page he literally told me we were both on. Hindsight is 20/20, obviously. Once he left, I saw his nervousness during that talk in a whole different light, and that's how I described it to you all. Again, obviously, I now do not have much of a choice but to pursue the single girly in the city cliché. But you can bet I will be diving into it with gusto. I found a beautiful apartment I really like with a lot of female roommates, and I ran the budget. I can just afford it. I started therapy. My best friend has really been showing up for me, and so has my family. As many are saying, I'm going to grow. Standing on my own 2 feet is going to be a really good thing. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you really like our videos, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.